Wow, just in time.
Hello, Susan. Why are you looking so rushed? Where did you come from?
Well, do you know I just came back from my toilet break after ending my fourth meeting? Can you imagine having four Zoom meetings back to back since 8 a.m. today?
Well, I used to pack my schedule with many appointments as well. And I was like almost at the brink of burning out. So that's why I have developed my own time management system to ensure a work-life balance.
Wow, good on you. Now, for most of us, working from home does not seem to give us any work-life balance at all. Now, okay, let's quickly focus on doing our program now. All right. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Suzanne, and I'm the founder of Stories That Matter community.
And I am Lillian, founder of Women of Courage Asia.
And we are your hosts for today's second episode of Courage Under Fire.
Yes. So everyone, good to see you online. You can go on to Women of Courage Asia YouTube channel as well as Women of Courage Asia Facebook Live of our Facebook page, and even at Stories That Matter Facebook Live. And some of you are registering through Zoom, watching from Zoom.
Yes, and in today's program, we are going to go deep to discuss one issue that you and I, as women, have been concerned about, and that is how to manage work stress to obtain optimal work-life balance that we want in this COVID-19 period. And that little private conversation that Lynn and I had just now is just to give you a taste of the headaches, the struggles that women face when they had to juggle between their work and family time and the sacrifice that they had to make for their personal time. Now, Lillian, do you know what I found out recently?
Oh, what did you find out?
I realized that almost all the surveys that were published online on the impact of COVID-19 on work issues and mental health, women were identified as the most affected group. And this is a common pattern that runs across different cultures, countries, and economies.
Wow. I mean, that is alarming, but yet actually not very surprising because we women wear so many hats, right? And I
Yeah,
also do
true.
notice an increase in the invitation for me to speak and talk about how to build mental and emotional resilience, especially during this pandemic period. Yeah, so the
Yeah.
statistics are alarming, but yet not surprising.
All right. Okay. So in today's program, we were going to have three working women from very different professions to share their experiences on how they have juggled between work and family in the home space during the circuit breaker period.
Yes, and we are going to find out, what working women can do on their own and what kind of support they need to help themselves keep their stress level down, and in control and take care of their mental and emotional well-being. So, for those of you watching Courage Under Fire for the first time, so today's program is the second episode of a five-part monthly virtual lunchtime panel discussion series. So, we live stream this on the third Wednesday of every month, starting from October to February 2021. So, now, Suzanne, what is the quick story behind Courage Under Fire?
Well, Courage Under Fire is launched as a passion project collaboration between Stories That Matter and Women of Courage Asia. And just to share with you, I'm not just a co-founder for Stories That Matter Facebook community. I'm also a community leader with Women of Courage Asia. So we came to a point where both communities felt that there was an urgent need for us to create a platform where women can come together and give conversations, share stories on how they have been under stress, under fire in the different aspects of their life, in their work, their business, their relationships, especially in this COVID-19 period. And I think a lot of people want to find out how they have managed to step out of these fires, step out of this stress to build a better future, a way of life for themselves, and how they can eventually transform and inspire people, inspire lives with these experiences. And in
Yes.
fact, I would say that this project is very much in line with Women of Courage Asia's mission to
Yes.
empower women to move from fear, self doubt, and limiting beliefs towards living a life of courage, purpose, and freedom. And equally important, this project is very much in line with the belief that Stories That Matter community upholds, and that is each of us. Yes, each of us have a story to tell. That the authentic stories that we share can actually help to build empathy and also help to motivate and transform lives.
Mm.
Right. So without further ado, let's go move on into the program now. So to start off, all our speaker panelists will be sharing their stories on their
Mhm.
highs and the lows of juggling between work and family.
Yeah.
And then we're going to continue our conversations with them in a panel discussion, which will also involve a psychotherapist giving her expert advice. And this will be
Wonderful.
followed, yeah, and this will be followed by a Q&A session where we'll
Mhm.
get the audience, all of you who are watching our program right now, your feedback from our Zoom chat and also our Facebook chats.
Facebook.
And
Yeah.
yes, and finally, the panelists will be sharing their reflections of being in the panel in today's program and also their last words of motivation to their audience.
Wow, that's a mouthful of introduction. Well done, Susan.
Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
now before we go on into the speaker panelists, just a little bit of house rules, because we're going to have Q&A, right? So, if you have any questions, do drop them in our Women of Courage Asia Facebook page, comment, and also in the Stories That Matter Zoom chat as well. Okay, so before the Q&A
Yeah.
session begin, we will consolidate all these questions and then we'll pick a few on the spot. But don't worry, for those questions, they are not being addressed in the show. We will provide the answers in the Women of Courage Asia Facebook page and Stories That Matters Facebook community group. Okay, so now let me introduce to you our three speaker panelists. Today the three speakers are community leaders with Women of Courage Asia. I'm so proud of them. They are survivors of burnout during the circuit breaker period. Okay, so first of all, I would like to bring on Lynette Ha. All right. Hi,
Hi,
welcome,
Ellen. Hi,
Lynette. Welcome,
Suzanne. Hi, good to
welcome.
see
Hello.
everyone.
Okay, a
Good to
very quick introduction of Lynette. She holds multiple roles as a coach, facilitator, and mentor. She's also an office bearer to three parent support groups. All right, a wife, mother to three beautiful kids. Putting her family first, she has left her high flying corporate career with an NMC a year ago, right, to step into the space of coaching in women and parent empowerment. And as a certified coach with a master's in image consulting, Lynette has also helped corporate executives develop their inner potential and achieve an integrated work and family life. So she also takes time to volunteer with her family and help communities in need. Wow, well done, Lynette. Welcome on board.
Thank you. Thank you, Lillian, for the
Right.
introduction. Thank you.
Okay, now so let me bring on the rest of the leaders as well. Next is Lisa. Okay, welcome, Lisa. Lisa. Hi. Right, Lisa is the founder of Stillen Maternity. It's a homegrown maternity wear label designed for new moms and moms to be in the corporate world. She's also a full-time finance executive. As a mother of two boys, right? Yeah, she understands very well the struggles of moms in the workforce who have to struggle demands of work and family. She has a passion to serve the moms community, especially in raising awareness in the needs for mental self-care, right? So welcome on board, Lisa. Thank you for coming on the chat show. And we have Wendy. Let's bring Wendy on board. Hello, Wendy. Hi. Now,
Hi, everybody.
Wendy. Hi. Yes. Now, Wendy is an independent financial consultant. She has been advising and managing risk management and wealth for individuals and families. She used to be in the accounting and auditing line before switching to the financial services industry. I understand that for 12 years, you have been helping clients find peace of mind in planning for their needs in insurance and retirement. And as a mother of two children, attending primary school, she can identify with families who have children and knows every parent wants the best for their children. So thank you, Wendy, for coming on board. Right. And
Thank you
last
for
but
having
not
me.
least, yeah, welcome. And last but not least, we have our guest panelist today, and that is Sarah Poe. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. Right. Sarah is the CEO and founder of the therapy platform. Right. She's also a practicing psychotherapist with 15 years of experience. In the course of her psychotherapy career, she has worked with people diagnosed with depression, anxiety, OCD, eating disorder, the list goes on. Gender dysphoria, paraphilia, personality disorder, social phobia, addictions, how do you pronounce this? Kleptomania and schizophrenia, right? Sarah, you are we understand that you are a sought after mental health speaker, and even recently you are one of the guest speaker in holdingspace.sg, a webinar campaign against sexual abuse. Thank you, Sarah, for setting aside your time to be with us today. Right. So over to
Thank
you,
you.
Suzanne. What's next?
Right. Thank you, Lillian. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've probably heard about the anxieties, the stress, and the sense of joy of finding a way to a productive, happy work-life balance. So let's all discover them all in this storytelling segment. And we are going to now join our hands together to invite our very first speaker, Lynette Ha. Lynette.
Hi. Hi, Suzanne.
Hello. Hi, Lynette. The stage is
Hi.
yours. Yeah, to share
The
with us.
stage is mine.
Yes.
Okay. So you'd like me to share a little bit about, I guess, my story and how I've journeyed through.
Yes.
So, okay. So as Lillian has introduced earlier, I'm a mother to three kids. I got married very early when I was 26, actually, when I started a new family, and all that happened very fast. Newly married, young family, new career, and my partner actually works in the marine time. So, which meant that shortly after being married, he went on board to sail. So that left me alone, staying with my in-laws. So it was very frightening then for me at that stage. And in the same time, beginning of a new career. So that's actually what happened before. And in progressing, and when I actually started having the family, one after another, the constant struggles, the frustrations of
Oh.
work and at home, the frustrations of not doing justice really on both ends hit me in 2014 when I attended. Actually, I went for a retreat with my mother-in-law actually, and that quiet time actually without distractions or that alone time made me aware that the time that I have with my kids will not return, and that I'm irreplaceable in that. And that made me then draw the line after being in the same company for 12 years. So right now, with time on my hand, right, and in my control, I choose the roles that I want to focus on, to spend my time more purposefully, and that's why I'm an active participant in the kids' life and in their school, and that's why I'm in 3 different parent support groups, because I've got 3 kids. And then also I research and sought out to serve in the various communities that I resonated with, and youth and women and parents actually came up tops, because I also wanted to be of service. And that's when I learned that about coaching. And coaching actually helped me to be a catalyst of positive change and to empower others to live a life that they want. And that actually motivated me stronger. Now, along this journey, I've been privileged to receive guidance from various mentors in my life. So, of course, my family, my partner, my boss, who actually taught me the language of the oil and gas, which I had no clue about. And he entrusted me with a multiple challenging task, which made me who I am today. So I'm very grateful for the mentorship that I received from also the various communities that I serve. And then I think we were talking about earlier at the backstage earlier about the struggles, of being a working mom, having families. So how do you juggle? So Actually, during COVID period, I was actually running ahead of myself and time. My calendar was booked and I was zooming from one meeting to another, packed with trainings, coachings, and webinars and all those meetings, and leaving no time actually to myself and for family. And that my daughter actually was the one who slept. So literally kind of prompted me that I was actually busier than when I was holding a full-time job. And that comment brought me to an abrupt stop, because the reason of why I started doing what I'm doing then gave me that shock back to stop and to hold. So right now I actually do a calibration, I call it, pretty often, and to live that authentic and purposeful life that I seek. And now it's of acceptance of the roles that I have, and really to make the best use of the times I have, balancing, economic freedom, family, and also altruism, because I believe in giving back. Yeah, so that's a quick, I don't know how many minutes I took, summary
Wow.
of the journey that I've been through.
Wow, yeah. Can we give Lynette a big round of applause?
Thank you.
Yeah, wow. You are one amazing woman juggling between so many roles and still being able to find a life that you have desired to live. Congratulations. And we're going
Yes.
to find out more about you afterwards at the panel discussion. Right.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Right.
Yeah. Before you go on to the next one, we just want to say
Yes.
hi to Carol.
yes. Hi,
Who has
Carol.
Hi,
commented.
Carol.
Yeah. Yeah, Carol is also one of our community leaders with Women of Courage Asia.
Okay.
Right. So next up,
Yes,
we have
and the next person that we're going to invite to the stage for airtime is Lisa Chong. Lisa, the stage is yours.
Lisa.
Hi
Yeah.
everyone. Yeah. Hi.
Yeah.
So I think as you guys have heard from Lillian, I'm the founder of Stellar Maternity, but apart from that, I'm also still a full-time working finance executive. So a little bit more about myself, like how this whole dual role started. So I was a new mom to a baby and toddler, and having to juggle the intensive work and pump schedule and whatnot, and it was getting very stressful. And I guess then I started having I was constantly plagued by negative thought, and I was overwhelmed and crying at every little thing. Then I kind of really snapped and realized that things got to stop when I actually had thoughts of harming my children. So I guess that brought everything to, I mean, with that kind of thoughts, I just had to confront my own I had to confront myself and what I was going to do with it. So after that, I started with a self-discovery journey to take a step back from my role, with the help of my husband. I did some fashion courses and whatnot, and that led to me eventually starting Stillen, because that provided me a creative avenue to channel some of the frustration that I have, and also it gave me the link to maybe moms out there, and I wanted to be able to share more of this kind of struggles that I faced postpartum. And I think there are many women out there who struggles with the dual role of having to balance work and family. So I mean, there were a lot of fears and challenges along the way, but I finally reached my dreams of being an entrepreneur. And I guess I'm just here to share my story of hope with many moms out there as well. And circuit breaker was something that took another hit and toll on the business and my personal life as well. Dealing with the kids and whatnot is a whole new level of it's a whole new level, a new ball game for many of us. And I guess there were a lot of lessons that were being learned on the way, and I guess we'll touch on them later on as we speak on here. Yeah, so that's all from me here.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Lisa. Yeah. So Suzanne, who is next? We have
Yes, we just want to commend Lisa for sharing her story on how she has found a passion in life in building this business from a creative input. And the last person who's going to be on stage with us sharing her story is Wendy Teo. Wendy.
Yes, Wendy, all yours.
Yes.
Hello, hi everybody. Okay, can you all hear me loud and clear? Okay, great. Okay, yeah, just wanted to share a bit of my story. Well, in the beginning, I was actually struggling with many roles, and at the same time, I felt very stressed and just even overwhelmed with all the things like family life, as well as work, as well as like volunteer work that I do. So I didn't manage to juggle very well in terms of my roles, I realized. So when I realized that I was actually very tired and very depressed, and then was actually about to suffer burnout, I realized that something had to change inside of me. So then I was like praying about it. Then I actually recalled someone introduced me this thing called a morning routine by Hal Harrod. His name is HAL and then space HALROD. So I went to check out YouTube again, and with this newfound motivation, he actually used the word acronym SAVERS. So it stands for silence, affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading, as well as scribe. So basically this really useful morning routine helped me through this period of time during the lockdown. And Lillian is actually one of my mentors who do help me see the bigger picture of things as well. So thank you, Lillian. So if anyone wants to engage her as a coach, feel free to let me know so that I can connect you to her. So for me, depression as well as sleepless nights, lack of motivation and low energy just happened to me during this period of time. And I finally saw that I was able to actually become a better mom. It doesn't mean that the kids have to take up all the time and attention, but I can actually have me time for myself as well. So I can actually, just even pursue the dreams that without feeling guilty to do the things that I love. So what I did was that I actually exercised more self-care and being able to love myself more by just even doing the things that I really enjoy. Yeah. So, well, thanks. That's all for me for my sharing. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you so much, Wendy. I want to affirm Wendy, Lisa, and Lynette, the three of them, because they really have shown resilience, yeah, and the growth that they have displayed and role modeling for their children. I mean, especially knowing Wendy for quite some time, yeah, I want to affirm you, acknowledge you that you have come a long way and you have grown so much stronger. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lillian.
Thank you, Wendy,
Appreciate
for
it.
sharing. Yes.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to
Suzanne.
hear more from you afterwards about how you have managed to find a way to manage your stress. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So we have come to the exciting part now, which is the panel discussion. So we have prepared quite a number of questions for all of you. So feel free to jump in with your thoughts. Okay, let's enjoy this session. Let's make it casual. You can unmute yourself so that you are ready to just jump in with your thoughts. Okay. Right. So the first question to all our panelists is, what is the biggest concern that came to your mind when COVID-19 hit Singapore and we were all told to work from home? What are your thoughts on this? Yeah. Who wants to go first? Just jump in.
I think for me, I probably started work from home earlier than most people, because I started just right after Chinese New Year, before it was mandatory to kind of for the companies to work from home. I think we probably never hit home that COVID was that bad yet. And we just thought, okay, new way of working. And then it was, I think, only much later when the circuit breaker hit, that it kind of really hit home that how serious this whole thing was, be that we need to have a lockdown. Because
Yeah.
in China, you'd be like, oh, it's people in China, it's never going to reach our shores. And people coming back, never mind, it's probably just a stage that they will just probably ride out. And I know government is very good. They will contain it somehow. It will not be that bad. But when circuit breaker really hit and we couldn't go out, I think that was when, uh-oh, and I had to do home-based learning. I'm like, yeah, I think that's a stress upon the stress, because working from home was a new challenge. Then when the home-based learning started, then I'm like, and then you start to hear news about people rushing out to grab food, toilet paper, and whatnot. I'm like,
that was wow.
that was scary. I think that was scary. I think for me, that really hit home that how border closure would affect every single one of us and the livelihood and everything. So as much as I didn't want to be one of the ones who go and grab all the food, I must just say I did stock out a little, just so that in case border closure, I will have a bit period of time to last a little bit longer. And I didn't have to endanger my family by going out very frequently to the supermarket, to run all these errands, because I just wanted to limit ourselves to within our house, avoid contact as much as possible. So I think that was what I did for the family. I literally told my mate, these are the things I buy for ration, don't touch. Really don't touch them, and we will eat this, and then after we eat this for tonight, tomorrow we cook, not that we cook, but re-cooked it in a certain way, so that you kind of ration the food a bit longer to make it last a bit longer.
Like more
So that was,
creativity that came out of it, right?
so like
Forced you to
chicken
be
rice
more
for tonight,
creative.
leftover chicken, tomorrow chicken porridge kind of thing,
Wow. Yeah, I think the home-based learning part was also, I think, quite a huge thing for many of us. Yeah, suddenly all our kids are all at home, How about yourself, Wendy and Lynette? How was that like for you? And,
Yes,
yeah,
actually,
even
same here.
Sarah,
I totally identify. Yes, actually, I totally identify with Lisa. I was wondering how am I supposed to, manage my daughter's work using the laptop, and then at the same time I need to use, the laptop to manage her work, to manage my work as well. So in that sense, I felt that it was like a quite havoc in a sense, because, I need to manage both our work at the same time. So I was like, really thank God for my husband. He whenever I have deadlines and urgent stuff to do, he can actually help to manage a little as well. So in a way, I think for lockdown wise, there's a lot of things were in terms of response was actually reduced. Like even for my case, like even in the insurers to get back to me, it was they all had to work from home, so I couldn't really get them in time in that sense. But then the thing is that they had to have slow response, so I have to tell my clients, it's like, there's actually slow response, so therefore you just have to wait because of COVID period. So it's a bit more kind of like expectations wise definitely has to be reduced. And then on top of that, also my daughter, because she has learning challenges and all, so she doesn't, so basically for her, she had to just even get adjusted to being at home even more. So there was like plenty of meltdowns along the way. So it was quite challenging in that sense. And like her meltdowns is not like just once or twice sometimes in a day, but it can be many times. So we really had to manage that as well. Yeah, so it was very, very challenging.
I think
So
it involves a lot of expectations in the way you manage the whole change, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. So I mean, following up with that thought, how has it changed the way you manage, say, your clients, your employers, or even families' expectations of you? Let's hear it from Sarah and Lynette. Yeah. How does this whole COVID thing that requires you to work from home, and then how do you manage your expectations?
Sarah, you want to go ahead?
Yes,
Yeah.
Sarah. Yeah.
Actually, I started my own private practice in end 2018, where I started giving online counseling. So I've been seeing my clients over Zoom, over telehealth platforms since I started my private practice. So seeing clients through video call is not new to me. Therefore, when COVID-19 hits and during the lockdown, when all counseling services is to be delivered over online platform, I did not feel a very big change in the way I conduct my sessions. So that is actually a bit of consolence lah, that in a way it just went smoothly into it. But I do have clients, interestingly, who sees me for face-to-face sessions. They just never, they just wait it out during the lockdown period to see me only after face-to-face sessions is allowed to resume.
I think I can totally resonate with that. Because because of the COVID, the lockdown and all that, suddenly, my appointments is even more. Because for those of us who are used to working online, I think this change is not so drastic. Yeah, but it's just that it packs more appointments. Because now you will cut down on the traveling time, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
You, like I said earlier, you zoom in and you zoom out, and then the next thing you know,
Yeah.
oh, it's lunchtime. Oh, it's dinner time. Or like, oh,
Yeah.
it's okay, you guys eat first. I'm still in the middle, or I'm going into the next meeting.
So
Yeah,
how do you
it's very
manage with
easy.
that, Lynette? Like zooming in and
Uh,
zooming out. Seems like a lot
I
of people
think
getting Zoom fatigue.
yeah, it's really Zoom fatigue, and we got introduced to things like Google Meet and the rest of the other platforms that were available. But very much like Sarah and what Leland you said earlier, transiting into an online platform was easy in a sense because I was already coaching my clients online, and that was how I had started actually. So building that relationship or continuing the coaching conversation online was not an issue. I think what I found challenging though was managing my own expectations of having to give myself that space to think in between, or having even e-breaks, or being there if the child is unable, if my kids are unable to go on to the platforms that they're supposed to. So that was a bit of a managing of the family expectations there as well, because with three, I'm thankful that I had enough electronic devices to go around, but that took a crunch in terms of technology as well, because all of a sudden the Wi-Fi can just go dead, and all of us, you can see the house coming alive. It's like, what happened? So then the bandwidth just went down, right, from like, oh, I had very stable Zoom call to like all of a sudden it just dies. And what was worse is if I'm training and then the trainer is out of town, it's like zoomed out. So that was a bit of a panic attack there. But very quickly, with everything moving online, um, we got adjusted. We upped our internet. We bought routers, Wi-Fi extensions, and we were forced to adapt. I think the thing is that we were all forced to adapt, and the technical portion was then self-managed. I would say self-managed because because I would say I'm blessed that my we've been we've been we've been actually trying to we when we were away, we were overseas for a while, and in that period the kids were exposed to technology, so they had no issues going online on Zoom or whatever else have used and managing HBL. So I'm very thankful that my kids are very independent in that sense, and they were able to manage HBL. In fact, my daughter is taking her just finished her O levels last week, and she was saying that HBL is one of the best time in her life in terms of education, because she could hear what the teachers were saying without them shouting down the room to get everyone's attention. And what's most important, the school actually supported them quite a bit in providing the resources for those who actually wanted to go the extra mile, because then it came down to itself doing that time management and stepping up really to do what they needed to do. If they wanted to do more exercises, they could. If they wanted to chill and or play games when the lesson is going on, it's a personal choice. So I think a lot then into managing that expectation.
Yeah, I think we all have to do that expectation management. Otherwise, really, it can be a Zoom fatigue for everyone. Yeah. So, Suzanne, what's the next question? I think you have some questions for specifically for Sarah as well, right? Yeah.
Okay, Ken. All right. So Sarah, we have actually heard our speaker panelists sharing about the kind of stress that they went through in the very early days of circuit breaker for COVID-19. So based on your experience with your patients, the consultations with them, what are the common telltale signs that are shown or experienced by women whose physiological, mental, and emotional well-being are greatly affected by burnout?
Okay, so during the period, I did see an increased number of clients seeking help, mainly because of the changes that they have experienced. They have to experience isolations. They used to have a more active social life, meet up with friends. I have clients who feel a difference by having a working environment, being in a working environment where people are open to chit chat. That helps to de-stress, provide a avenue to de-stress. But losing all this, being in connection with people, can be rather distressing, for many of us. And this is, I think, one of the biggest reason why people has been coming forward for counseling, because they are losing their usual social support over there. What's your next question? I'm not sure whether I did answer your question. It seems like there's various.
Okay. Basically, this is the question for you on the common telltale signs, but we definitely can explore more on this area. So we're coming back to you, Sarah, afterwards. Okay. But
Okay.
thank you, Sarah, for sharing with us so much on what are the signs that we should be looking out for, for burnout. So
And
now
I think
I'm going.
social, like what Sarah mentioned, right?
Yes.
Social isolation is
Right.
one of the telltale signs. Yeah.
Mm,
Okay,
Yeah.
good point to take
Yeah,
note of.
actually,
Yes.
as I think, especially women who have, like Sarah said, right, who are very used to social support outside, the external social support, or even the friends that they will have, the colleagues that they will have that will support them when they go to work. That in human interaction is actually really missing during the lockdown period. And yeah, I've got some people that I've coached that also come to me and said, I don't know what to do. There's only so much Netflix or YouTube I can watch.
Yeah.
Then many books I can read, right? So what's next?
Yeah.
So then,
My son was
yeah,
saying that he's sick and tired of playing computer games.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is like, okay, that's the first I hear of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, my boys too. So it's like,
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I guess it affirms the point that we are all social animals at heart.
yes,
We all
yes,
yearn to
very
have
much
built
so.
connections. Yeah, even
Yeah.
though we look at the phone, we look at mobile phone, we look at Netflix all the time, but in our heart, we want to talk to people. Yeah,
Deep down.
and then that shows, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right. Okay, now we are moving on to the next question. All right, and this is a question that we want to raise it to all the speaker panelists, Lynette, Wendy, and Lisa. Now, at the very early part of the circuit breaker period, or rather, think about the part of your life when you go through the circuit breaker period. Is there one experience where you had experienced an intense burnout when you work from home? One of you can start the ball rolling by sharing with us first.
Yeah. And how did you cope with that burnout?
Yes. Yeah.
I think I can go.
Yes, Lynette.
Okay.
I was like I was sharing earlier, I kind of was slapped in the face. So because I was very used to doing coaching online, I continued. And because everyone is forced, right? So people were very receptive to having that coaching conversation online as well. So it was also there during that period where I clocked quite a lot of time towards my professional certification for coaching. But that meant that if I'm here, I'm not with the family. And that took time away. The intense burnout came because I started doing training online as well. And with coaching, training, that left not a lot of time in between to do my family obligations, like maybe even cooking a meal, for example. So I'm very thankful that I had support and I had to reach out for help. So I say I had to because otherwise everyone's home, right? Lunchtime, people will get hungry and then they will like stop interrupting my meetings or like coming on to my coaching sessions like, Mommy, I'm hungry. I was like, I'm in the middle of a coaching conversation or I'm in the middle of a training. I can't quite entertain your request now. So I had to then, it forced me then to plan. In advance. It forced me then to rope in help from my family, from my mom. She's from my mom and also from my kids. It's like, okay, so I'm going to be in meeting between this time and this time. And what time is your break? What time is your lunch break? So we will kind of coordinate schedules and then have the meals ready because that's the basic need. That's what they would likely come to me for or come to anyone in the house for. So planning, asking for support was key. And that actually helped me overcome or bring sanity back into my life during
Right.
that
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
team
Thank you.
Yeah.
and teamwork as well.
Oh, yeah,
The
a
teamwork
lot
that you
of
have with
teamwork.
your family
A
members.
lot
Yeah,
of
on this.
teamwork had to be put in place. It's like you don't help, then you don't get food. It's your choice.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think seeking
Yeah.
support, seeking out support,
Seeking support.
recognizing, acknowledging, you're at the brink of a burnout. I think that's very crucial as well.
And that everyone has to
Yeah.
chip in. If you
Mm.
don't put your hand in, then okay lah, you wait for me to finish my meeting. It's fine.
Yeah. Actually, on that note, I think it's a nice transition to the next question, especially for Lisa and Wendy. I understand both of you have children who are in a primary school, right? Yeah. So, what kind of unique challenges do you face, in coping with their needs and attending to your work as well, at the same time within the same home space? Did you also experience a intense burnout, and how did you handle those unique situations or challenges? Maybe Lisa, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I've got a 7 and a 4. So the 7 is just P1 this year, very, very new into the whole school system before the whole circuit breaker started, right? So
Mm.
he can barely, I mean, I'm quite thankful he's a quick learner to all these gadget stuff. He can read somewhat. So, when it came to the home-based learning, he was able to help himself a little bit. But
Mm.
most of the other tasks, I think what maybe MOE or teachers did not we all didn't expect is you give them all this home-based learning, you expect them to log into all the different website, you expect them to know how to read and do the exercise when they can barely read the words, especially Chinese. it's it's like the book looking at you, you look at the book and then you don't know what to do with it, right? So yeah, it was very challenging for that part because then we really literally had to sit beside him and read for him the instruction in order for him to complete the exercise. So that was
Lisa, we
Lisa, you're
lost you.
muted.
Lisa, can you speak again? Speak up again. Okay, you need to unmute yourself. I think.
Can you hear me?
I think it's the connection because she was having the mic issue earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Do you
Yeah.
want to speak? Unplug the speaker for 1 second and test if it's okay with that.
Unmute yourself first. Yeah. Try
Okay.
again. No?
Okay. One more time. Okay. Without the
Okay,
speaker.
wait. You're muted. No. You know?
Okay, the connection.
Okay, wait. You're coming
Okay.
back.
Wait.
You're
We hear
coming
you.
back.
We hear you. We hear you. Say connection.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Stay there, please. Don't
Okay,
move.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on a sec.
You were saying.
Yeah. Where was I? Yeah, home-based learning, right?
Yeah, and Chinese cannot read the instruction. I can so resonate with that.
Yeah, and so it was. I think the first 2 weeks of the home-based learning was quite chaotic. We didn't know what to do, and I had to, because for my job is quite intensive. I need to be at my desk and so concentrated. I literally cannot spend time with him.
helping me in all the stuff, because if I get distracted, I do mistakes in my work, and that will be a problem. So I think what Lynette did, is very, very important. We all need support, and I'm just very thankful that I have a helper at home that to do get out of the blood. I actually literally look up for me so much. And he needs to do from his school. So we allocate her a time slot, like with a teacher time. So she will take over the teacher time for the little one to do artwork and whatnot with him. And Daddy will take the 10 to 12 o'clock slot. So I continue with all my stuff, and only when it's night time we kind of stop. I will continue with the younger one. And it's kind of like starting at there, I guess, for the first, for the first month and also till
Yeah.
the other one was a bit more inducted into this learning. Yeah,
Right,
but
right. So Lisa, because I think the sound's quality is still not as good, so we can't hear you very clearly. But what I'm getting here is that time management, planning, and time management still plays a key in helping to cope with that challenges. Am I getting it right? Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Correct.
Yeah. Right. So, Wendy, I understand that one of your children has some slight learning challenges that you mentioned. That so, how did you cope with helping your child, while you're working from home? And yeah.
Oh, okay. So during this period of time, I actually took the liberty of signing up for courses to help her out. So I went to sign up for kind of a dyslexia course that will be able to help her in terms of how to do mathematics and just even doing her English. But at the same time, she still have a lot of therapies going on for her. So they're all on Zoom. So in the course of a day during work time, is that my okay? It's my aeroplane flying over. Excuse my aeroplane for a while, because I stay in the east, so there's a lot of noise interruptions here. Yeah. Okay. Can you all hear me now? Oh, okay. It's gone quiet. Okay, so maybe
Can hear you.
Can. Okay, great, awesome.
Yes, we can hear you clearly. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I was saying that in terms of helping her, I went to attend courses on Zoom. So they have Zoom courses going on during this period of time. So I don't have to be physically inside the classroom. And then on top of that, what I did was to be able to just even, help her out in terms of her emotions, managing her emotions better also. Yeah, so there's always but at the same time, the allied care teacher kind of like every couple of days check in on us. So I'm very, very thankful. And on top of that, MOE, Ministry of Education, has a lot of tips for the children on how to manage home-based learning, how to manage, things like emotions and stuff like that, even at home. So yeah, actually, this year has been a very challenging year because on top of managing this lady, not this lady, but this girl who has a learning challenge, I also have to manage my boy who has PSLE. So it was
Double whammy.
double whammy. Yeah, correct. Yeah. So he actually he didn't take to the COVID period as well in that sense. He during the after the lockdown, right? He didn't really want to go out. He didn't want to step out of the house. He was saying, no, because everybody said that it's better to stay at home. So therefore I stay at home. But then the thing is, it's very good in terms of just even going out to exercise a little while. Yeah, so I feel that it was pretty challenging lah. Yeah, so we had to really counsel, strongly encourage him to be able to go out to exercise, be able to get some breather. Yes.
I think
So
I
it's really not
recognize.
easy.
Lisa. Lisa, you.
I just wanted to say that I kind of really resonate with what Wendy said about the kids, because I think as adults, when we go through COVID, we know how to manage ourselves, but a lot of the time we kind of forget the little kids in the house, they also have emotions and feelings and whatnot, and they were just told to go along with the plan and whatever not, right? So
Yeah.
I think we never really realized that the kid actually had I mean, they were affected emotionally as well by the COVID. So, they start, it was like maybe 2 weeks. At first, they were like really enjoying themselves. Well, every day, they go home, just play, play, play. But I think third week onwards, I started to realize that they were starting having meltdowns and meltdowns and meltdowns. And I was like, what's happening here? Like it's not helping the matters. And yeah, and then it kind of like just hit me that, hey, as much as we adults are affected by it, they are as well affected, that they cannot see their friends, and parents are just telling them what they need to do, and yeah, they just have to follow, right? And they may not have the language to verbalize their emotion and tell us what they are feeling. So when we kind of realized that, and because we were at home for so long, we just decided, let's just bring the boys out every day for a short exercise, whether it's just scootering or jogging nearby. Let's just go, get them to run about, to just exercise, and it helped a lot, I must say, because they were able to expend the energy, vent their frustration. We were able to vent our frustration through the exercising with them as well. So I guess it helped everybody on the whole lah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from what I'm hearing from just now earlier, to go back to what Wendy has mentioned, I think one thing that I picked up was that, yes, COVID may, constrain everyone at home, but that actually gave you the opportunity to have the time to actually learn a new skill in terms of, the different skill sets that are required to help your daughter. So I think it kind of like play out pretty well. Instead of going on site for the training and all that, you can do those training online. Yeah, and providing more time with the kids lah. Yeah. So thank you, ladies, for sharing about that. Sarah, do you have any thoughts about this? Especially for parents with children that are in the same space during this COVID time. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I just want to say, like, kudos to all the parents, kudos to Lynette, Wendy, and Lisa, for having to, juggle along during these many changes in COVID times. All of us, play a role. In fact, we play multiple roles, right? Especially given women, traditionally, we are seen as the emotional pillar of the family. So now the added stress on women, I think, is besides having to take care of family, having to fulfill your role as a mother, as a wife, there's also that financial pressure now on women, that women are expected perhaps to also bring in financial resources to the family. So truly, there is a lot of juggling act over there. And I mean, I'm learning so much from you guys on how to respond to your kids, even knowing like what is the school system, being involved in the learning process of the kids, having conversation with your kids about the struggles or on the changes, how they feel about it. All this will actually help to normalize and validate feeling of the child. Also, when you share about how you are coping, how you are actually thinking through all these changes. I think from the child's perspective, when they hear your thinking process, they will be learning as well. Yeah. So I just thought these are some of my thoughts when you guys were discussing about it.
Yeah, that's actually quite true, Sarah, because I think kids model after the parents, right? Regardless whether we like it or not, the good and the bad would always be modeled. Yeah. So when we talk with them and when we share our experiences of what we are going through as well, they know that, hey, it's okay that I feel that way, and it's normal. I'm not.
Yeah. So thank you very much, ladies, for sharing your thoughts on this specific area. So I think Suzanne, you have some more questions for Sarah, right?
Yes, that's right. Let me just unmute myself. Oh, I'm actually okay. So Sarah, we've heard so much about our speaker panelists sharing on how they went through the stress, how they give so much time to care about their family, even though they're in the midst of rushing through work deadlines and meeting clients. And in our conversations, we talk about self-care, how we can use self-care to manage stress and burnout. So share with us, how can we as working women use self-care to help us to manage the many different roles that we take up when we're working from home?
Well, I think self-care is not just for women, for men, for everybody as well. A lot of times, right, I think women kind of take on everything. When I was working in a psychiatric hospital, we see the suicidal patients are mainly women, but women feel suicidal but don't kill themselves. But when they think that they want to kill themselves, they just go ahead and kill themselves. They don't kind of stay in that suicidal feeling. So actually I was talking to my colleagues about this, and we feel that women tend to have the tendency to internalize problems. If there's problems in the family, they will take it on board, and then they will think about it. They will be concerned about other people, because I guess women tend to have the natural tendency to empathize, and it's a strength actually. That women also, so women, that's why I say it has always been like the pillar of the family. You always put everybody first, right? And you put yourself last. In certain culture, I know the entire family will finish the food, and then women will eat whatever they left over. In some culture, in one culture that I know of. So it just really stands out how women has traditionally been, the role that the woman take up, put everybody first, that kind of thinking. But we a lot of time forget that we are just as important as everybody else in the family, in the society. So if we take care of others, we also have to take care of ourselves. And only if we really take care of ourselves, right, then we can also take care of others. If we are not taking good care of ourselves, then how are we going to take care of others?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Coming from a space where I've coming from a space where I've not been taking care of myself. Yeah, that's why I spiral down into all that suicidal, depression, and even attempting suicide. I think that is really a very important point to take note. Yeah. So I think we have one last question for Sarah, right?
Yes, that's right. We have one last question. So, Sarah, I think from the start of this discussion, we've been looking at the issue of work-life balance from the perspective of working women who are going through stress. Now, what is your view of what about family and friends of these working women under stress? In what way can they actually come forward to give support? Yeah, from their perspective.
Yeah. Okay. We all need support, right? Women and men, right? And I guess for women uniquely, right, it's again, going culturally, our cultural background. You remember the times when like women sit at the void deck and then they pluck bean sprout. I remember
yes.
when I see some mama
The
doing that.
kampong,
Yeah.
These are like a social time, social bonding time. You wonder why it's taking so much time to do that. But actually, they are working their heart out, having that heart-to-heart conversation. And it's really, fantastic for mental well-being. That is the treatment at that point of time. But because all of us now are living in such more like hyper-independent, isolated life, we all strive to attain our goal. We all have our own goals, So it becomes more like rather than being collaborative, rather than having that community spirit. So I think whether it's man or woman, it's critical actually for us to come together and resume this kind of activity. Maybe this time I don't know what else, baking together or singing hearts out. I remember during COVID-19 National Day, right? We sing for the heroes, healthcare heroes. Wow, I feel that kindred spirit, at that point of time. And research has shown that singing together would synchronize our brainwave together, and we feel less isolated that way.
Yes.
So I hope, even though KTV is now closed, we can somehow and sing. So I guess it's no magic to how you are going to be supportive of another. It's just plain humans reaching out, knowing that when we see somebody is maybe more down, laying in the bed, not doing anything, demoralized, have the heart to actually, ask, hey, how's things going on? And also, just also sharing, your part. In any conversation, it's always good to have like 50-50 time or 60-40 time, not to over-dominate the conversations or not to talk at all, just listen. So it's good to have that reciprocal exchanges. And I think everything else, generally we can work things out when we have that connection with one another.
Having support. That's why having a community of support is so important for our well-being.
Yeah.
So,
And
yes,
this is why we are also sharing in this panel discussion. We are actually going into the actual activity of sharing stories and motivating one another. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think, Suzanne, now is the time where we want to actually look at some questions, right?
Yes, that's right. Okay,
Ooh.
so to all the audiences, it's your time to share your burning questions. Now, those in Women of Courage Asia Facebook Live and Stories That Matter Facebook Live, if you have any questions that you want to ask our panelists, do type in the questions in the Facebook comments. And for those of you who are watching our program from Stories That Matter Zoom, do type in your questions in the Zoom chat.
So
Right.
while waiting for the questions to come in, I actually have one burning question that I'm curious to know from the panelists. Yeah, and that is like, if you have a chance to actually like go back in time to the start of the circuit breaker, right? What is the first thing that you would do to manage your workload more efficiently to prevent yourself from feeling stressed? Now it's on the hindsight, because now right, how stressful it could be, right? Yeah. So if you were to be able to go back in time, what would be the first thing that you would do to manage your workload? Now all
I
deep
think
in thought.
okay. So I have my answer, but before I answer that question, can I just be cheeky and do a shout out based on what Sarah shared earlier about the kampong spirit, and that when people come together and have that human interaction, that's why the Women of Courage Asia community was built. Yeah, it's really a sharing of stories amongst women to empower women. And Lillian is the founder, and she would be able to share. So we're having we're all run by volunteers. There's no profit here, but we're having a meeting actually next Tuesday. Yeah. And come and listen to our sharings. You can check out our website. But to answer Lillian's question earlier, you can register on the link below. Anita has very kindly helped us. To answer Lillian's question, I think the thing that I would do differently is I would deliberately set aside time and say, okay, this is your break time. This is your break time. Let's have a common break time so that we can come together and just talk. How was your session? How was your day? Or how was your meeting? Because all of us are in different corners of the room and looking for that perfect background, right? So that nobody comes behind you in inappropriate clothing, for example. So that would be the time. That would be the one thing that I would really do different. That is to set aside purposefully meal times together.
I think-
Probably like lunch and dinner, because dinner is compulsory in my family to sit down and talk. But
Yeah.
lunches, because everyone's home, right? You don't really have an excuse in that sense.
Yeah, I think that point, that's a good answer. That will actually reminds me that, to ensure that we have a shared time, to take note and be aware that we do have shared time together, and to really make it more fruitful, as in like
Yes.
checking in with each other,
Correct.
and
Correct.
not
Have that human
even
connection.
using devices even
Yeah.
during those precious shared time, like you mentioned, the meal time.
Yes.
Yeah. Very good, very good. Okay, so well, how about the rest of you? How would you handle that?
Well, for me, I think I will actually take regular breaks in order to avoid burnout. So I think it helps quite a lot, because the thing is that if you don't have any breaks in between, you will just feel that, it's like, when is this going to end? When is the day going to end? So taking regular breaks are very important.
Wonderful.
So
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, that's a great tip. Remember, take regular breaks. Take regular breaks. How about Sarah and Lisa? How would you? Yeah.
Actually, what Wendy has mentioned, I truly resonate with me. And taking breaks and also stretching. Because we are seated, right, all the time, our muscles are so tight in our hip. Our hip is rigid, So a lot of stress is accumulated there. And our shoulder as well. And because we are trying to look forward, look at the words on the screen, our neck is like moving forward like this. You can see, it's straining the neck. So I think the breaks, it will be good to always do lots of stretching. I have to remind myself all the time. If I can remind myself, I must tell myself to do it. But
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Okay. On that note, yeah. On that note, I do have a tip for everyone that this is great, because we want to naturally release endorphins, right? Happy hormones for ourselves. So you can actually use your palms, put it at the back of the neck, and then you just do this pumping motion. Yeah, the squeezing and releasing actually naturally releases endorphins. Right. Yeah. So the happy hormones. Yeah. So anytime you can apply this, that's a great tip for everyone. Yeah.
And I think Nicole was sharing that you can use essential oil, right? And it just emphasizes the
Yes.
impact.
Yes. Yeah.
of that.
If you do use essential oil, you can add on to that. It's also a very good tip. Yeah. How about you, Lisa? What would be the one thing that you will do if you will be able to go back in time?
Sorry, my tip not so actionable, but literally it's my wish list if I went back.
Uh-huh.
I think for many of us, we actually saved our leave, hoping that one day the borders will open, we'll get a chance to go traveling. So a lot of us try to delay our leave to the end of the year, hoping the borders will open, right? And I did some of that, and now on hindsight, I think I should just taken it during the circuit breaker. I mean, it doesn't need to be the full day, but even if it's like 2 or 3 half days during the week, I guess like similar to what Wendy and Sarah say about taking breaks, I felt like it would have given me a lot more breather to engage the kids, and to so that I have more time with them, I have more time for myself, without having to think so much about the work. Yeah, that would help a lot with the stress. Yeah.
Right. I think this circuit breaker thing comes to many of us as a wake up call, right? For those who are always, work. It's a wake up call to take a break, Yeah. And that's thanks for your tips and your thoughts about for my questions. Suzanne, any questions from the Zoom room? Please unmute yourself. Yeah, any questions from there? Okay, let me.
At this point of time, no questions at the moment, but I do have a question for all the speaker panelists.
Yeah.
Okay. For the speaker panelists, you've mentioned that there are a few groups of people who have been supporting you and mentoring you all this while you were doing your very best to overcome your struggles. So which of them would be the first person that you go to when a burnout happens to you,
Good
and
question.
why?
My husband.
So who comes into your mind immediately
My husband.
when the burnout happens to you? Your husband, Lillian. Okay, share with us more.
Lisa here. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, Lisa.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I guess because day in, day out, he's the one I see 24/7, almost literally. He knows the condition of the house best, you know. So if I'm feeling a burnout, he's the one that needs to step in already. So I make sure he's the person I go to give heads up and say, hey, I can't take it. Please step in. Yeah, I mean, we take quite an equal kind of view responsibility towards the family. So he's as much hands-on as I am. So definitely I would keep him in the loop on what's happening to me, so that if anything happens to me, he needs to bear the brunt of it. So yeah. and of course he's also my sounding board lah, because I mean, we marry our partners for a reason. He's my soulmate. He's also the person I share my heart with. So I need him to understand how I'm feeling. So as much as I can, I try to sound off him. Unfortunately, that also includes the rough lah sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
I can resonate with Lisa. Yeah, I can resonate with Lisa because we married our partners for a reason, right? Yeah. So he will be my first sounding board, except for him because he's also although he's no longer sailing, he's still in the essential service. He's considered essential service. So he's not at home as well. So he doesn't quite see what's actually going on at home. So I would 30-second summary of the key highlights so that he's kept abreast, because he's a very hands-on partner as well. And I don't think without his support, I wouldn't be where I am as well. And the family unit would not be so complete. Yeah,
Right. Wendy, what about you?
Okay, yes. Actually, for me, there are two types. As in, of course, one is my husband. The other one is actually the people that I pray with. So yeah, so I have a kind of like a small group of friends whom I pray with in that sense. So I thought, it's kind of like emotional support for me as well, and I feel that it's very, very important. Yes. So that's my story.
Yeah. How
Right.
about Sarah? We will hear from Sarah too.
The first person, I would say it's my. First, I say, okay, I'm staying with my mom and I'm staying with my pet dog right now. So my pet dog is always around. I actually, for me, right, it's quite therapeutic for me to stroke my pet dog and bring my pet dog down for a walk. And recently I discovered, right, walking on grasses helps you to feel very grounded. And research has shown that walking on grasses or on the beach, right, actually neutralize your excess electrons in your body, which is responsible for oxidization. Yeah. So recently I've started doing that, and when I do that, I feel better. So these are a few things that I'm doing, like yoga, walking on grasses, play with my dogs.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your thoughts as well. I think very interesting answers coming from the panelists as well as Sarah. So yeah, on resonating with Sarah, yes, I do go to the beach as well, walking on sand. Yes, very therapeutic. Yeah. Okay. Now,
do we have any questions from the audience from your side, Lillian, so far?
No, I don't think so, but it's okay. I think any questions that come in, please feel free to comment in the page. So because we will still be monitoring the page, and we will share the answers there. We'll reply you with the answers over there.
Right.
Okay, right. So let's do a wrap up here with the reflection and takeaway. Right. Like I always say, we do not learn from experiences. We learn from reflecting on our experiences. So we would like to all the panelists here, including Sarah, to share on your reflection from today's sharing, and then, maybe you want to wrap up with one motivating advice to our audience. Okay, so maybe we start with Lynette, and then we go around the clock, Lisa, Wendy, and then Sarah. So let's keep it focused. Right.
Okay, so I think in terms of reflection and takeaway, it's the first thing that came to my mind was what Lillian asked earlier. So now on hindsight, what would you do differently? I left corporate for family reasons, and that question grounded me back. And that reflection of that time away and the near burnout stage actually grounded me back. That's the reason. So keeping time aside for yourself is actually self-care as well. Because when our tank is not full, then there's nothing to pour out. You can't pour out. And very often then you realize that what you're feeling, you are spreading. And being the emotional pillar, regardless whether you're single, whether you're female or not, male, female, whatever, you would still go through a process of burnout or of being pulled at all angles. It's important then to exercise that self-care.
Right.
So that's something that I like to leave with our audience.
Thank you. Thank you.
Today.
Yeah, Lisa.
Yeah, so for me, I think looking back at the whole COVID situation, and because we were also caught out in all the new courses that we have to take, and there were so many other responsibilities that were being added to us. It took me. I think that took quite a lot of juggling and a lot of stress. And if I were to do them away, I think I still go back to the sorry, how should I say, focusing on what's more important. I know somebody shared with me before about the imagery about the big stones and the pebbles and the sand. You want to.
Oh, your mic went off again. Your mic went off again.
Oh no.
Lisa, your mic went off again.
No, you're on mute.
Let me unmute her.
Yes, can hear you.
Okay, yes. Yeah. The pebble and the stone.
Yeah, so if you try to fit in the pebbles first and followed by the big stone, again, it will never fit. So it's only when you put in the big stone first, the things that matter most in your life, the big priorities, and then you fill it in with the fillers like the pebbles and the sand, and those are the optional, the good to have kind of thing. I think that's when your life will start to make more sense, and it won't feel so out of sync with yourself, because you are always be completing the things that matter to you most. And I think the ones that don't matter anymore. Yeah, so you can choose to drop them anytime you want, or just put them at a later time. And that's what I've been trying to tell myself. What are the things that really matter at this point? Yes, it's good to do all the self-development classes and whatnot, but I think my family is still more important. If I can choose to take one that's later in a time slot and spend more time with them, I would kind of prefer to do that. So
Right.
that's the way that I've done for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, business is not just about making money. I think there's always time to make money. Well, I mean, it's important, but I'm thankful that I still have a full-time job to keep me going for the now. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Yeah, Wendy, what's your takeaway
Okay.
and one motivating advice for our audience?
Oh, okay. So one takeaway is to not only take breaks, but to be able to do stretching exercises. So yeah, the pumping exercise would help pretty much in that sense. So I think it's really good because it helps in terms of even the neck, kind of like relaxing the neck area. And I would say one advice is that to create a morning routine for yourself. As I mentioned about Harold, he actually had some wise words to say about this. So one of them was actually to give self-affirmation, and it's very, very important. So maintaining positive self-expectancy will help you achieve your goals because you feel in control by giving yourself empowering reminders every day, every morning. So this would help because of the fact that if you do self-affirmations, you feel more positive about yourself, and then throughout the whole day, you feel better. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Wendy. Sarah.
Yeah, I'm absorbing all this advice from you guys. I would say, I mean, all of us have our unique way of coping, and all is good, And it's all individual way. We all have our own individual circumstances, and sometimes you may have some resource, sometimes you don't have resource. For me, right, life is not a bed of roses. We will all go through up and down, whether it is in COVID-19 or not. A reminder I keep giving myself is that all this shall pass. Yeah. How temporal things are. We can be married, or then after that divorce, and then remarried, and then divorce again. Whatever it is, single, or with partners, live-in partners, or all kinds of permutations are actually available right now. There's no like one size fit all in terms of how we should be coping. Some yeah. So I guess it's all about an individual walk, and in my with my clients, I see individual clients. I sometimes see couples. Not been seeing an entire family, but early when I was working as a social worker in a family service center, I did have the experience of working with family. It was a lot of fun. What I'm trying to say is that my work with individual is very personalized, and it's about the self within the person. And actually, we cannot separate the spiritual self. So in the time like this, sometimes we think about questions like life and death, or we think about our how vulnerable we are. So for me, at least I would rely on a higher force, something bigger than myself as a source of support.
I thank you, ladies, for sharing your reflections and takeaway. I do resonate with what Sarah said. I think for me personally, the whole reflection was that, realizing that there is a higher power, that we are a unique creation. And we have a unique contribution to this world. So discovering your purpose and your calling in life, like what you said, we can't give what we don't have, right? So it's not wrong to take care of yourself, because once you take care of yourself, then you are able to give and that channel to keep that blessing and whatever that is flowing through you into the world that we are living in, your own sphere of influence. So with that, on that note,
Yeah,
Suzanne, you want to wrap up
Yes.
the session? Yeah.
I just want to say that certainly it's really important for us to take care of ourselves and to reconnect into our spiritual and personal self in whatever we do, because that is the part where we're able to find our inner strength in doing what we do and in overcoming all the difficulties that we have in life. And there's a very favorite quote that I love to share. Steve Jobs said that life is about living and creating experiences that are worth sharing. And I want to thank you, Lisa, Wendy, Lynette, Sarah, and also my co-host Lillian, for sharing with us your experiences and for sharing and for affirming that we all have that inner ability and the power to rise from our stress, and really having that confidence to move forward and create a very productive and happy life for us as working women. So that's all we have for you today, our audience. And next month, on the 16th of December, 12 p.m., we are going to move on to another area of discussion, and that is having a conversation with single moms. And do join us to find out about the struggles and how they manage to cope with life to give their children and give themselves a complete happiness as a single parent. And also, there'll be more updates coming to you in this program in the Stories That Matter Facebook group and Women of Courage Asia Facebook page. Now, for those of you who want to find out more about our two community groups, do check out the Facebook pages of Women of Courage Asia and your website, as well as Stories That Matter. So for Stories That Matter, we always have a lot of activities on video storytelling and video creation classes, and do keep a lookout for what's happening to these activities, what's coming up in our Facebook page. Right.
Yeah.
So over to you, Lillian. You have an announcement to make for Women
Oh,
of
yes.
Courage Asia.
Yes, like what Lynette did a shout out earlier, we
Yeah.
are all from Women of Courage Asia community, and we have our monthly empowerment meeting happening on the 24th of November. And in fact, Lynette will be our MC for that session. Right.
Yeah, I could have got arrow, and that's the first thing I did during circuit breaker. Remember, we had our first virtual meeting, right?
Yeah, you did a very good job. That's why,
I popular
back again and
not
again.
Carol.
Right.
No, the community is fantastic. They are
Yeah,
all
it's a
about
very
empowering and
Yes, it's
sharing.
a very, very supportive, and inspiring community. So we will have different expertise every month, different topic, different expert sharing, different from all walks of life, women from all walks of life, and also sharing of the stories of courage. That is one of my favorite segment, because we really get to hear the authenticity, the vulnerability of the individual women that took the courage to share their stories from a victor's mindset, right? So do come and join us on the 24th of November, which is next Tuesday, right? Yeah,
Next Tuesday.
Yes. So, all
And
right.
yep.
We won't
So-
hold anyone longer, because I know
Right.
all of you have a lot of
Yeah.
appointments to go to. Thank you so much for setting aside your time. I know this is very precious time for you. But thank you for being here with us. And we see you again next month. Right?
Yes, see you next month, 16 December,
See you.
same time on 12 p.m.
See you.
in our Facebook Live. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.